I'm being joined by a former Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Adewale Omini. You're welcome on the program.
Thank you very much.
I also have former Majority Leader and former Secretary to the State Government. That is Honorable Kaudi Babade. You're welcome on the program.
Thank you very much.
And joining us this afternoon is a chartered accountant who is also a member of the APC, Mr. Rotimi Ogle. You're welcome on the program.
He's my player.
All right, today we'll be looking at so many issues within the polity, but particularly the issue with currency redesigning, which of course inability of people to access their funds from the banks, from ATM, that is automated teller machines, and many other issues. You will recall that in Ogun State about 2 weeks ago, the candidate of the APC, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, did say that it was some sort of ploy, maybe to make him lose the election. And after that, we saw the governor of Kaduna State granting interviews, 3 TV stations, saying that it was a deliberate ploy by some elements within the APC, within the villa rather, to whip up sentiment against the party and to make the party lose the election. We'll be looking at that issue and some other issue. Let me begin from Mr. Honorable Kaudi Babade. What El-Rufai said about some elements within the villa behind some of these policies, because Nigeria is not the first country where their currency will be redesigned and there will not be any issue. There are so many Nigerians now, if you visit banks, not just in the banking halls, even at ATMs, even at POS operators, people are trying to access funds. They can't access their funds. Many of the reasons that the CBN adduced for this currency redesigning, to check inflation, to ensure that people are brought into the banking system, to mop up funds that are not within the system, to fight terrorism. Many of those reasons have been defeated because in the first instance, we've seen videos of terrorists brandishing new notes, saying that they have this new note. And a senator, Ali Dumedi, said that it is even affecting the fight against terrorism because they will need cash to pay the soldiers on the battlefield. That is not being done at the moment. And then talking about bringing people into the banking system. What about people in places where there are no banks? El-Rufai said in the whole of Borno State there are only 2 local governments with banks. Do you subscribe to the idea that there are people who may be using these against your party?
Thank you very much. We have heard from the horse's mouth. You see, when people like El-Rufai comes out shouting, telling Nigerians that there are some people behind this issue of currency, it's not even the issue of currency redesign, it is the issue of the scarcity.
Sure, scarcity is part of it.
Exactly. If you redesign currency and you allow currency swap
to be available.
Yeah. Go to the bank, you have 100,000, you pay the old one, you take the new one, and you go about your business. This is not the first time currency is being redesigned or being introduced in Nigeria. The denominations have been introduced in the past, and there has been no headaches by the populace. And so it is becoming very clear that there are some powers working behind the scene to make sure Nigerians are angry against our party and thereby vote out our presidential candidate. But I know, as the Lord liveth, they will not achieve this because, once, twice, even our presidential candidates have cried out to say, what is happening? Nigerians are suffering. Who is behind this? Fuel crisis, currency redesign, and I think things will get better. Because from what Baba started saying, Nasarawa, it is equally a pointer that the man at the helm of affairs is getting the feelers that Nigerians are suffering and that Emefiele is not helping situation. We could redesign currency, but they should make the currency available.
But is it about Emefiele? Because there are people who say that Buhari, President Muhammadu Buhari, approved this policy. If you look at the CBN Act, the CBN got all the answers to the president. So, did the Buhari administration not envisage that some of the things could happen?
Well, he might not have envisaged it. Is it at at the top level? A governor approves or a president approves, but is the person that is going to implement the parastatal or the body that implements that policy that is very, very important. How many approvals does the governor or the president give in a day? He could give approvals, but the implementing agency is what is important to make sure things are done rightly and that pains of people are alleviated. And so that's why I went to mention the name of the CBN governor. It's good for the president to say, yes, let us redesign currency, let us do this, but the implementing agency, if it fails, we first have to take that into consideration. And so it's the CBN that is implementing this policy. And I think the man is working for a cabal in the presidency. And this has to be unraveled, and the president has to take charge. You know, the last meeting the governors of the APC had with him, he promised them 7 days. We are looking out to what will happen within the 7 days and see how Mr. President will come out to alleviate the pains and sufferings of Nigerians as far as holding cash, having money in the bank, be able to take it out and do your daily business is concerned.
Before we go any further, let's quickly listen to excerpt of that interview by Rufai, where he did mention that there are some elements within the villa that are working against the APC.
Unmasking them is not as joyful as defeating them. They will be unmasked in time. But we have defeated them when they wanted their own people in the National Working Committee of the party. We have defeated them when they wanted their own anointed person to be the presidential candidate without due regard to due process or even respect for those of us that are governors that have slaved to put this party together, campaign for it, and deliver the election twice. Okay? We didn't matter. We are governors, we have problems. Governors are corrupt. Governors are bad. Governors, everything is governors. Meanwhile, none of them has contested an election as councillor. And if they did, they won't win. I have been elected twice with over 1 million votes as governor of Kaduna State. I can claim to speak for the people. None of these people can. We'll come to the unmasking stage. This is not the stage. The stage now is to draw the attention of Nigerians that there are elements that are doing this and they don't mean well for our party. They want to incite voters against our party so that we lose the elections. Now, once Nigerians know that, then they will know where some of these funny decisions are coming from. And once the election is done and settled, by the grace of God, in about 3 weeks, and I'm confident, and we are not sleeping. We are going to work hard from today, flat out, until 27th, when all the results are out, and by the grace of God, Asiwaju is elected and our other candidates of the APC, then we will unmask them. But this has been an ongoing issue, and you know, we just feel that some of these things that are being, you know, thought of and clothed with good intentions, and dummies being sold to the president so that the electorate will be incited, the people of Nigeria will be inflicted needless pain at this point, in addition to all the other challenges that they are facing, just so that they will, you know, revolt and say, look, we'll vote for the other party. It is clear. And if you read the statement coming from the other party yesterday, after I spoke about the need to look at the time granted for this currency swap, we're not against the policy, okay? cashless is the way to go. We have no problem with it, but you don't do it in a few weeks. Allow time for every farmer, trader, student, market woman in the village and in the cities to be able to take their money to the bank and get new currency, or where they are doing their business, take the bullion van there with security, change their money and give them. Don't say that POS, I have a map of Nigeria with blind spots where there is no network. POS won't work there. It's not everywhere that you have bank branches. It's not everywhere you have POS working. So let's sit and look at this thing and find out the reasonable time that it takes to do this. And even the Central Bank Act that gives the president the power to issue to the central bank directives regarding currency design said that reasonable time must be given before the currency ceases to be legal tender. The question is a few weeks reasonable time in a country of 1 million square kilometers and over 200 million people? How many bank branches are in Nigeria? How many ATM machines? We have only 23,000 plus ATM machines in Nigeria. How many bank branches? In Borno State, there are only 2 local governments out of 27 with a bank branch. In Yobe, 2 local governments out of 17 with bank branch. Even a cosmopolitan state, relatively in the north, like Kaduna, has 2 local governments that have no bank branches and about 10 that have only 1 bank branch. So everyone in that local government must come to that 1 branch? And this POS that you are seeing in every street of Lagos, do you think you have POS in every street of Cabal and Ikara and Makarfi, which are local government headquarters in my state?
All right, I was the governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, speaking about these policies. Now, there are those who will say that if he says there are some people within the villa who are working against, who are these people? Are they members of the APC? Is the APC working against itself? Right Honorable Adewale Omiri.
Well, thank you very much, Dimeji. The issue of Cabal in the presidency is not a new thing. It has always been there from the beginning of this APC term, first and second. Even the wife of the president cried out at a point that the people, the faces he's seen in Nasoro are now the people who worked for this party. So the issue of Cabal is not new. But all the people that are there are northerners. 98 or 99% of them. And as far as I'm concerned, like Honorable said, their aim is not to allow Shuaji to get to that place.
To install another northerner or to install Peter Obi or
well, whichever person they want to install. I think their aim, which I don't know, is that Ashiwaji is too clever for them. And we need that kind of a person to shape this country. We're in a mess, totally. Most of the people that are in Nasoro were not even part of the struggle to install the president. But they have so much influence on the president that whatever they say is final. How can you, in Britain, about 2 years ago, they changed their currency from paper to polythene type. And nobody heard anything about it. You were only hearing it on television, and by the day, the last day it expired, the currency was everywhere. This one, they told us it was going to expire on the 31st of January. As at 29, I went to the bank. They were still issuing out old currency.
Yeah.
So there's something wrong somewhere. If you say you have decided this money and it's available, why are you not paying it to the people? This morning I was in a bank. Somebody brought petrol to the bank. Somebody brought petrol to the bank. And that place was like a market. I just turned back. So as far as I'm concerned, the people that are working in Nassau Rock against our party are not even party members. But they are there. They are there.
You would love to chip in something?
Yeah,
okay.
there are people
please go ahead before I
who doesn't believe in the rotational presidency.
Okay, so they want power to go to stay in the
Yes,
north.
they want the power to be retained in the north. They are working behind the scenes so that Elijah Atiku Abubakar can win the presidency. Is it when the people are angry against APC, either in the south, everybody is angry, no doubt. People are getting worried, and the pains being inflicted upon them by this currency thing. And so those cabals are people who want power to remain in the north, and they are not respecting the rotational agreement or written agreement between the north and the south that power should shift to the south. And PDP is giving this problem, this country, this serious headache we are going through at this time. Because when Obasanjo
When you say PDP, okay, okay, continue. Please go ahead before I
the
proceed.
MFLA is working for PDP, the Cabal, they are working for PDP. They want PDP and power to retain in the north, so that the Fulani, the Fulani man, that is the Atiku Abubakar, could continue being president after Buhari. But we in the south will not take that. It won't happen. And, and that's why Ashwaju is crying out. Crying out.
But is there anything is there anything in the Nigerian constitution, the Nigerian laws that says that a Fulani man or a northerner cannot be president at this time?
There is nothing that says a Fulani man cannot be president. But fair is fair. There must be fair. There must be equity in what we are doing. Buhari has been there 8 years. By May 29, it will be 8 years. The things will move to the south. Before Buhari was Jonathan from the south. And so the thing went to the north. And so we are no slaves in our own country. And we Southerners will not tolerate it. You could hear what Edwin Clark told Okowa. That is a traitor. That all the Southern governors, 17 of them, had a meeting in Delta State and said nobody should take the position of vice president from any party. The presidency should come to the south. Okowa went to take the position of vice president. Why? We can't be slaves in our own country. Nigeria belongs to all of us, not to the northerners alone. And so it is the turn of the south, and it is the turn of Ashwaju, Tinubu. God bless Nigeria.
Let me turn to Mr. Rotimi Ogunleye. Before the deadline, initial deadline on January 31, the candidate of the PDP, presidential candidate of the PDP, had he spoke against that there should be extension. Immediately that extension was given, February, he said that I read a particular statement issued by the PDP accusing the APC that the APC is working with some bank executives to frustrate the distribution of the new notes. What is your take on this?
Well,
why do you think PDP is taking that position?
Yes, like I said, the major problem we have in Nigeria is politics. It is one thing that kills the best of our policies. Initially, when the policy of currency design and ceiling on amount of money you can withdraw from your bank account, I was one of the persons that, because from my lineage of my profession, I supported it and have canvassed for capturing of financial transactions in Nigeria as one of the weapons government can use to stop corruption.
Yes.
Now, if this is coming, you would expect somebody like me to support such. But looking at the way it was implemented, and some of the discoveries at a later time when politicians across board from different platforms were now talking, they took a position initially, and when they discovered that they were gaining from it politically, they changed their position. Then it was not because of the currency of the initiative and what the government wants to gain from it as regards the system. It was more of the politics of it now. Then my position about it changed. I'll give you an example. When the policy was introduced, the first thing the candidate of the PDP said was that it was ill-timed
Yes.
That it was wrong, that the timing that was given was wrong, and that APC was a party that cannot take good decision. The presidency has not done. He condemned the entire thing. I mean, from the start point of it, they were just raising so many issues at a point alleging APC of trying to favor their candidate to give him money so that he can do also, all manner of substantiated allegations. The moment the thing was implemented, now people were now groaning. They couldn't get money. They couldn't have access to the new notes. They were still paying out old notes, and people were now complaining because their chip was much. Then they came around and began to say that it was the same government that inflicted the pains on them.
Speaking in favor of the people, in support of the people.
You understand? That was when APC was saying that, look, the time was short. You should have given a larger time. You extend this by 6 months. 6 months. The Senate took a position, and as of that, looking at the way the thing was implemented, that it would be better for the thing to be extended to June. They passed a resolution in that regard. Some of them went overboard. They began to condemn them for what they have done. Now, they made a U-turn and now beginning to urge on Senate Bank not to, give a kind of extension anymore, and that it is their policy.
CBN, you wanted to say?
Sorry, CBN. Yeah. They now turned their eyes away from the masses they were saying they were supporting initially, when they discovered that they were benefiting from it politically. So the reason why so many of these presidential candidates, so to say, who have ruled this country, who have not been able to undo ordinary privatization policy, who have not been able to handle ordinary privatization of electricity, who have not been able to manage fund they disburse for the branding and engineering of electric generation in Nigeria. They pay so much for it, and they could not deliver on that particular line of service in that sector. They are now coming around to say that CBN must not elongate the time, and that the poor Nigerians who want to take 2,000, 3,000 naira in the bank should continue to groan at the ATM, should continue to go to bank without having enough currency to transact business. They are saying that they should completely paralyze commerce. Look, we cannot grow more than who we are. As at the moment, financial inclusion in Nigeria is not total. So if you are trying to introduce a policy, you must have a social base, you must have a platform where that policy through which it could be implemented. You are just inflicting pains on Nigeria. That is the way it is now, because the implementation, no matter how good the policy is, the implementation, I'm telling you, is completely bad. So what I think and all of them are saying, they are just catching cruise on politics. They know that they are benefiting from politics of it. When the people queue, I was in the bank this morning. One young girl came into the banking hall. I won't mention the bank name because so that you don't charge me for adverts. I was in that banking hall. The girl said he has just come to withdraw 2,000 naira. That I couldn't get 2,000 naira. He was just raining curses on the bankers there, saying all manners of, negative words. You could see anger of the people. And these are set of the people that the president candidate of PDP said the government should ignore. If they are not benefiting politically from it, why are they saying that you ignore them? So that is why I said there are no statesmen in Nigeria. What you have, there are pockets of political opportunists who want to seek, benefit and advantage from the system where they have got no ideas, where they have done nothing. So what they are doing is deliberate. They are doing this to incite the anger of the people against APC and its presidential candidate. It's as simple as that.
Now,
because I don't know why introduction of new currency should generate this problem. I don't know why they deliberately starve the masses. What is difficult there? Print new notes and issue it out. Look at what they are doing now. Are they sleeping before? Now if you go to banking, or you can get 50 naira, you can get 100 naira note. Why don't they implement this from the beginning? When they know that they are still currency, they are still legal tender. Why do they allow people, market woman, Okada rider, bricklayer, artisans, who will need 5,000, 3,000, 10,000 to transact business on daily basis? Some will want to give money to their children to go to school, to go and come back. Fuel is in the increase. You are not giving them money. I mean, how do you explain this? Why are you now saying that some people, they are somewhere, they are interested in the country? Yes, if you are interested in the country, I can't judge you. I can't say you are lying, or I can't say you are saying the truth. But I can only assess you based on the way you have implemented it. If you are introducing policy that will make so many people go through agony, how can you say you love the same country?
Now, let me ask you a question. As somebody who is well versed with how the banking system works in Nigeria, with what you've seen so far, especially they are trying to go cashless. That's the motive.
Yeah.
Now, with what you've seen so far, do you think that the existing banks in Nigeria even have the online infrastructure to even cope with going cashless at the moment? Because even people who are trying to do online transactions, many of those are failing and not even working.
I said the implementation. Just get it, Mr. Dimeji. The truism in the policy is one thing. I mean, policymakers must think through before they introduce any policy into the populace. If you are saying that, okay, for us to be able to generate more revenue, for us to be able to bring more people to the tax net, we need to go cashless so that transactions can be captured. Fine. It's a beautiful one. The second leg of it, okay, if we want to go cashless, we need the ICT infrastructure.
Yes.
That will make us do this and implement it effectively well, so that the bigger things we are trying to chase away from having access to our common patrimony will not be the one that will enjoy it. Why these, innocent Nigerians who will just need 2,000 naira in the money to give 500 naira to their children to take a taxi to school and come back, so that those people will not suffer. Are you telling me people, policy initiator and implementation will not think about this? So are they not aware that we don't have the ICT infrastructure in place that can take us through? Do we have a locally regimented ICT infrastructure, internet infrastructure, through which the bank, gateway domain could domicile?
Can all transactions even be cashless? I was asking somebody
all
this morning.
transactions cannot be cashless.
What do you tell the woman who sells iru, who sells pepper in the market when you don't have cash? Are you going to do transfer to those people as well?
What they are trying to do, is only that.
Because I've seen people. Why I'm asking you that?
Yeah.
I've seen people who go to the market and they do not have cash. And they can't do anything.
No, we are saying the same thing. What I'm saying is this: look, if you are looking at the developed world and you are saying, okay, this is the reason why it is difficult for anybody to give bribe, to get.
And you want to domesticate what is happening here in Nigeria.
Now the question.
What about the realities here?
The question is, we are calling to the realism. The question is, one, what have you done about education?
Yes.
Now, if you answer that question, those who are educated and they are in the other side, do they have access to all the electronic platforms where you can transact and buy and sell and get cash? Number three, if they do they have means in all the 36 states of the federation to do same? Number four, if for instance, if all the 1, 2, 3 collapse, how do they get alternative? So that if they want to buy iru, they want to buy bread, they want to buy egg, they want to take laborers to their farm to work and pay them on daily basis, how do they get their money? They are complaining now that even the soldiers
can't get
that
money.
are combating
On the Boko
Haram,
they can't get money.
They can't even get money. As I was coming into the studio here, I was tasty. I needed to buy bottled water. I needed 150 naira to buy bottled water. If I have not been able to have access to cash, how do you think
transfer to the boy at
I will transfer
not gate?
I will transfer 150 naira. So what we are saying here is that the policy is good. Those who are behind it, they politicize it. They have made a mess of it because the motive is politics, not how the policy will benefit the country. So that is why I'm saying that politics is our problem.
Okay.
When you have support statements who are failed in managing just privatization of electricity alone, they are now coming around to say that they know how to do cashless policy and bigger stuff And you convince me that they can handle it. So they are just talking about it because they want to benefit politically.
Okay,
they don't mean it.
Let me turn to Right Honorable Kadiba. One of the fears that many Southerners have expressed, because I've interacted with people who have said this, that the candidate of your party is from the South. If you look at the structure of the country, the North has more votes in any election. States like Katsina, like Kano, if you look at the number of votes that come from those states, and then you compare to the states down south, that's a lot. Do you trust those in the North enough, the politicians in the North and Northerners enough, that they will back the candidate of your party when there is another Northerner in this race, in this contest, who is also a candidate of a major political party? Honorable Kaudi Babadi.
Yeah, thank you. You see, let me just go back a little to the primaries in our party, the APC. I want to appreciate the 13 APC governors who are Northerners, who are from the North. They have been able to show that they love this country. I have met some of them physically. Badaru, I have met El-Rufai, I have met a host of them, Ganduje, and things like that. They have come around to our state in the last election to solidarize with us. And we publicly commended them for staying by the truth. Politics is a game of number, but the fact still remains that Nigeria, as it is structured, the North, the South, the East, the West, or whatever, there must be fairness and equity in the distribution of positions. And as far as the northern governors are concerned, they have showed to the whole world that they believe in one Nigeria and they believe in equity. They supported Ashwaju during the primaries, and that is why he was able to win the primaries against all other candidates. And they are still very, very committed to the cause of this country, making sure that Nigeria is one, and that irrespective of the fact that they have a larger land space, they have larger population than the South, the fact remains that you must be very conscious of one thing, that the resources this country is using is mainly from the South. And so they cannot equally afford. If somebody thinks, oh, the North can just call the church and continue to be president because of their population, it is not going to work. And they are calling, they want us to take further steps.
Beyond these governors, because if you look at the way the North is structured, beyond these governors, you have to look at the religious clerics as well. The clerics as well. They have a strong hold on their people.
Yes.
I'm talking about the Muslim clerics in the North.
Yes.
You have to also think about these people.
Thank you very much.
And they matter in every election.
Thank you very much. We listened to the interview of the Kaduna State Governor, El-Rufai. He said to become governor in Kaduna State, he scored over 1 million votes. Let me tell you, the presidential system of government has really given too much power to the governors. But we hope they will use it to our advantage, and they will be using it to the advantage of the masses. You know, everybody looks up to them. Either you are a cleric, or you are a king, or you are an emir, or whatever you are. There's so much power in that office. Too much power in that office that they control virtually everything in the state. And so, when they were bringing the delegates were they not under Muslim Umars? They came and said, please vote for us. This is where we are going. And they went with them. And that's why Ashwaji had over 1,300 and something votes in the primaries. And so, what we are looking on to, which we know God will help us, so that Ashwaji can win, is the governors standing by their words, just like if El-Rufai can come out and challenge some of the northerners to say, this is what is happening at the villa, that means they are still committed to the cause of rotational presidency. even in the various states, people clamor for rotational governorship. Is it, if a zone continues to produce a governor in one state, other people will cry out. So that, because you all have the same right. And so I think even with their population, we still have people of integrity, and that is why we are commending the governors. They are men of integrity who believe in one Nigeria. And we hope they will stand listening to El Rufai, who is a radical among them. 27th February, by the grace of God, we will be celebrating the victory of Ashwaju. The population there will be used to our advantage. The number of delegates there was used to the advantage of Bola Tinubu during the primaries, and so I want to believe that they will stand firm and continue to give that support, so that after 8 years it goes back there again. And so that's how the one Nigeria thing can continue to be sustained.
But would you blame the PDP? Because I've spoken with some of them who said in 2015 that the APC decided to pick a northerner when the PDP candidate was a southerner, that is the incumbent president at the time, Goodluck Jonathan, because the APC was trying to cash in on the fact that there are more votes coming from the north. That they are doing, the PDP is trying to do the same thing at this moment. Who would you blame them for doing that?
Now, if the APC took a presidential candidate from the north in 2015, Jonathan has been there for 6 years.
6 years at the time, not 8 years.
No, he has been there for 6 years.
No,
and Obasanjo
we should not even forget in a hurry what led to Jonathan's presidency.
Exactly.
Obasanjo left having spent 8 years.
8 years as a southerner.
A northerner should be there to spend 8 years in person of late Umaru Musa Yar'Adua. So his term supposed to be 8 years.
He had 2 years.
He spent 2 years. Jonathan completed the 6 years. So as at the time Jonathan was there, he was actually using the slot of the north.
Of the north, 2 years.
So it was even wrong for PDP as at that time
To allow him to continue.
Yes, that is the truth. If we want to discuss equity and justice within the polity called Nigeria, so it was wrong. So it was APC in 2015 that corrected that anomaly, that did the right thing. So let's put it right. Let us situate it right. And they returned the ticket back to where it's supposed to be. So the current occupant, being from the north, has spent, by the time he's leaving, must have spent 8 years. It runs contrary to the principle of equity to return the same ticket to the same region, to the same zone, to the same tribe. It is very, very wrong. It runs contrary to the stream of equity. So, see, the argument is a lame argument. Unfortunately, I've said it, that we'll continue to meet ourselves at the campaign space when we'll throw all this on the table and we'll trash it out. It is not tenable. It is not explainable. It is not acceptable. It can never be acceptable that presidency in a country where we have over 250 tribes will domicile in a particular tribe, in a particular region, then we'll have another election. It will be in the same region and the same tribe. Haba, nobody should spoon feed us with that.
Right, you want to chip in something?
Well, the PDP planning to take power from APC, I don't see anything wrong in that. But if they really want fairness, equity, and justice, they should have picked their candidate from the south. That's all. They should have picked their candidate from the south. Then I'll be struggling to hijack the power.
Will you blame them for trying to win the election, for believing that going this route will make them win the election?
Between winning election and the unity of the country,
and the further survival of this country,
which one comes first?
Which one is more important?
If I'm a PDP man, I will be on the weaker side, though.
And we want to be.
It's a question. It's a national question I've been asking their leaders. Between winning an election, are you telling me that there is no southern political leader
that is
in
qualified
PDP that is qualified, that PDP can pick as their candidate, and Atiku and all can support and win election?
You see, my own thinking,
Is that what you are saying?
Right, everybody.
my own
Sorry,
thinking,
sir. Continue.
My own thinking is, even our president, his body language is not supporting our party. Because...
Why do you say so?
Eh?
That was not what he said in Nasarawa.
I'm
Okay.
going to tell you. I'm going to tell you. When Yaradua was contesting and he was on sick bed, Obasanjo went around the entire country campaigning for him.
Exactly.
Even when Yaradua was not around.
Even when
was in Germany.
I could remember Obasanjo called him on the phone.
Umaru,
Said,
are you
"Umaru,
dead?"
Are you dead? He was everywhere.
You all remember that call?
Yes, he was on every. He was in every.
That was
state
what did the magic.
campaigning for him. But our president is not even talking. It's not following. He's not campaigning for us. He said he wants to go to 10 states. He has not even gone to up to 5.
He was in Nasarawa on Saturday.
Yes, we had what he said in Nasarawa. And
Becoming a born again.
Because if he's a born again president, we'll all be glad. But as far as I'm concerned, if you go back to this policy something, when a particular law or policy is made in Nigeria, they are made for poor people, not for the rich ones. I will tell you that most of these rich men are having currencies in their houses now, and they can spend the way they like.
One other question I'd like to push to you, right, you know, some people have said, they have tried to sell the idea to the voters that the APC is crying foul about this policy because it will not allow the APC to buy votes. Doesn't have anything to do with vote buying.
Is APC buying food for the masses in the bucket? The masses that are crying now, that cannot afford to feed themselves. As I'm sitting here now, I have just 1,500 naira on me.
That's the cash you have.
Yes. How do you pay an Okada man that takes you from one place to the other? You said this money is expiring on so and so date, and they should be taking money to the bank. And yet to get the bank the structure, they should not pay out. And you told us you printed enough.
They've asked the bank to be paying 20,000 naira now.
No, they did not. They were not paying.
See, these
They were not paying. The bank was just collecting money. And
right, honorable. This argument that APC is criticizing the policy because they won't get cash to buy votes. Let me just say this. One, we are politicians. We must say it the way it is. It is a general thing that is common in the political space. It is not the right or the exclusive of a particular political party. That's number one. So if cash is not available, it is a level playground for everybody. Number two, the current, fallout of the implementation of the policy, who is at the receiving end of what the masses are saying. Now the masses could not get currency to spend. They could not transact. It's affecting commerce. Whom do you think the masses will be raining curses at? Whom do you think the masses will say is responsible for their problem? Is it PDP that has been kicked out of power and that is wallowing on the ground that may not get up forever? Is it PDP? Of course, they are not even talking about PDP. They know they wrecked them. They know they wrecked the economy. They know they brought the economy to its knee. So it is the APC, the people who divert their anger at. So it is the APC that has the moral burden to extract the policy the way it is, and if there is any aspect of it that is not good, that is not going in favor of the masses, they are bound to speak out and speak up as a party, and that is exactly what the party is doing. If there is anybody that is supposed to keep quiet, it is APC, and say that because it is a policy coming from our government, so we shouldn't be seen as castigating our government. But they didn't do that.
No.
They came out frontally and said that, look, this is not about the policy of the party, it's about the politics from the person that is initiating the policy. So we should speak more to the politics, not the policy. The policy is good. The APC is not condemning the policy. The APC is condemning the politics of the policy. The politics has made the masses to suffer. The politics has made the masses not to get money to transact business. The politics in the policy has made a common man, Iyaloja, Babaloja, bricklayer, carpenter, masonry, name it. It has made it difficult for them to get cash. It has made it difficult for them to get cash to even buy drug in the next pharmacy or medicine store next to the house. So it is the politics of this policy that is bringing hardship to the masses, and the politics is targeted at wrecking the candidate of APC. That's why they have to speak up.
All right. One of the things that El-Rufai did mention in that interview, talked about some of the opinion polls that have been released. Many of these opinion polls, many of these polls, many of these polls, Obi is leading many of these polls. Let's quickly listen to excerpt of that interview about some of these polls, and then we'll come back.
Opinion polls are distorted. Look, data analytics is one area that I'm in love with. When I was a student at the Kennedy School of Government, I was a teaching assistant for statistics. So I understand these things. I'm not talking as a politician or as a layman. I understand these things. The most important thing in looking at any opinion poll is the sample followed by the methodology. Okay? When your sample, when you have about 100 million registered voters and you are sampling 2,000 registered voters or 300 registered voters, I'm sorry, your results from day one are unreliable. They will have very high margins of error. And most of these polls are like that. What about methodology? Most of these polls, like the Bloomberg one, the ANAP one, the Iwala one, all used telephone. What percentage of the INEC voters register contains people whose phone numbers are in INEC's records? We have found out 31%. So from the beginning, you are starting with only 31% of the total sample of voters. So if you pick your sample out of that 31%, from day one, your results are dead on arrival. Okay? So I can take each and every one of these polls and deconstruct them because I understand what is sampling, I understand methodology, and those polls are a joke, with the greatest respect. Okay? We have done a poll with a sample of nearly 40,000 across Nigeria. And the results of the poll show that we are ahead. It's going to be a tight election. There are a large percentage of undecideds, so we all must work hard to swing the undecideds to our side. But we are ahead. How can Peter Obi win any election? Peter Obi is polling 1% in Sokoto, 2% in Katsina, 5% in Kano. That's where the votes are. All states are not equal. The fact that you are doing 70% in Anambra State does not mean somebody doing 10% in Kano is not better than you. Kano is 4 million votes that actually happen. Anambra is what? The number of votes in Anambra is the size of one local government in Kaduna State. So all states are not equal. If you poll states and you make them equal, yes, Peter Obi will sweep the southeastern states. He will do well in South-South. Where else? He's not polling well in Southwest, other than a drop in the ocean in Lagos. He is polling in the Christian enclaves in the north. He's polling well, but how many are they? How many? Peter Obi cannot win the election. He doesn't have the number of states. He doesn't have 25% in more than, the last time we checked, in more than 16 states. He can't go anywhere. Peter Obi is a Nollywood actor, and that's all he will be. This election is between the APC and the PDP because they have the footprint, they have the spread. Ethnicity and religious...
All right, that was El-Rufai, the governor of Kaduna State, speaking about some of these polls that have been released. Honorable Babadi, what's your take on this?
No,
on some of the things they have said that many of major.
By the way, Peter Obi is just.
You don't think this polls will translate into vote for the candidates of the Labour Party?
I studied a poll that I received from somebody on my phone yesterday. They were saying Peter Obi will win Ekiti State. 36%. And I said, which Peter Obi? We were there when he came for his rally, and he was at the pavilion. I just said, why did this man waste his money to go to the pavilion? He would have taken Afe Babalola multipurpose hall, because all the people that were there, they were not up to 5,000. They were not up to 3,000. And so that is why they said.
But the Labour Party will argue with that. Your own rallies, that you mobilize people with money to come to your own rallies.
For where? Now that, okay, it was, Tinubu was in Ekiti on Saturday. So Friday. So where did you even get money to give to anybody? Even despite the fuel shortage and everything, where is the cash that you are using to finance anybody?
That's the question.
It was in Osun State. Despite the fact that the governor was discouraging people, all the buses and things like that they should be off the road, people were trekking there, and all the buses came out to carry people there. Massive crowd. So if you study, it's unfortunate my phone is not here. I would have showed you and see what they wrote for Peter Obi, that is going to win Osun, is going to win Lagos, is going to win Ekiti. I said, which Peter Obi?
No, the Governor Rufai has done a very good job. He has been such a fair professional. You see, I understand that analysis, like Yarali said. The first thing that is so important in any data analysis, of course, is your sample size.
Yes.
The population of your sample. I'll give you an example. If you want to find out the percentage of farmers that have benefited from maybe a particular policy of the government in a particular community, if the total population of that community is, let's say, 200, it will be, and all of them are farmers. If we pick 20 of them, that 20 cannot reliably represent variables that you can tinker with, and we are talking of social research
and get
to
a
give
good
you
result.
a very good result. That, of course, the method, like Yareli said, if the 20 you pick, maybe they are the people that bring their good to Akure to sell, and you just see them and you interview them in Akure, there's no way you can get your results right. The margin of error would have been so wide, because the other one staying in Lara may actually be the farmers. It could be that those ones that claim to be farmers are just getting their product from them. Maybe they are sponsoring them, or maybe so many things could have been wrong within the information line. So what he has said is absolutely correct. During an election like this, you see so many emergency data analysts who want to churn out reports so as to prepare ground for crisis, so as to, set some portion of the political group against the other, so as to precipitate a kind of situation that will generate violence. So I see this as just child play. If you want to tell us that you are conducting a kind of research, tell us the number of samples you have taken in Ondo.
Okay, because of our time, let me turn to
social media president.
What will you say to Nigerians at this time, as we round up?
Well, my advice to country members is that they have to be fair to all the candidates, and I want them to vote my party, which is APC. We are not the cause of the hardship in the country. In fact, somebody went to the petrol station a few days ago and he mentioned APC and he was beaten up seriously. This is what they are planning to achieve. And our Nigerian men and women should not allow this one to frustrate them. They should go ahead to the pool, collect their PVC, and vote massively for Ashaju Ahmed Tinubu.
Honorable Babade.
Thank you very much. Well, I want to appeal to Nigerians. What is happening as far as currency is concerned and the fuel matter is a passive phase. It will soon go. And that is why we are clamoring that somebody who understands the economy, who has seen it all and has exhibited brilliance and exceptional leadership in Lagos State for 8 years. And Lagos State turned from a very poor state to a prosperous state today, that we should give him the chance. He will run Nigeria well, he will do well, and so we shouldn't allow this fuel matter or this currency matter, which are not his own making, to determine his faith.
All right, because of our time, Mr. Rotimi Ogle, in 10 seconds, quickly.
It's going to be sharp. One, if a man promises to take you to heaven, check his spiritual life first. If a man says he will deliver when he becomes president, look at his antecedents. One, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has always been a progressive who has been championing the cause of restructuring. because of privatization, because of public, service that will give good life to the poor. He has been able to, solve the problem of traffic in Lagos State created last month. That's ingenuity. He has been able to create a kind of platform that will generate revenue so that they can solve the problem of Lagos State. That is ingenuity. He has been able to talk about how to use our gas resources to get long-term fund in such a way that could generate revenue for Nigeria. That is national economy.
I will have to stop you now. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Honorable Babade, Raj Honorable Adewale Omirin, and Mr. Rotimi Ogle. My name is Dimeji.